The film begins with a tense moment as Ava, a young woman, stands near a window in an apartment. She witnesses a horrifying nuclear explosion that devastates the city. Frantically, her boyfriend Sam pulls her away, and they join other residents in a panicked rush to escape the unfolding disaster. Unable to use the elevators, they dash downstairs and head for the basement, hoping to find safety from potential further explosions. Racing against time, they barely make it inside the basement, where Mickey, the resident, struggles to shut the door in time to keep toxic air out. Amid the chaos, only 8 residents from the entire building manage to reach the safety of the basement, which also serves as a bomb shelter. These survivors include Ava and Sam, Marilyn and her daughter Wendy, brothers Josh and Adrian, along with their friend Bobby and a solitary figure named Delvin. Taking charge, Mickey assumes a leadership role in the group. Mickey asserts himself as the superintendent of the survivors, firmly sealing the shelter's door and warning against opening it under any circumstances. Wendy, the youngest among them, grows increasingly distressed by their dire situation, prompting Mickey to harshly silence her. The survivors are startled by the sound of their apartment building collapsing into ruins above them. As time passes, they reluctantly accept Mickey's dominance and control, consuming the beans he provides and sleeping in designated areas, while Mickey alone has access to his private room. Tensions escalate when Josh and Bobby, restless and anxious, confront Mickey about leaving the shelter, leading to a brief but intense conflict. The situation takes a turn when they hear knocking at the doors. Initially hopeful it might be a rescue team, the group reacts with joy, but Mickey, skeptical, instructs them to turn off the lights. As the banging intensifies, the group retreats, cut off from the outside world and devoid of radio signals. The door is eventually forced open by a group of armed men wearing biohazard suits. In the ensuing chaos, the armed intruders capture Wendy, Marilyn's daughter, and flee. Delvin and Mickey engage in a violent confrontation with the remaining assailants, managing to take them down. However, Adrian is shot in the chest during the struggle. After the attackers leave, the group is left to deal with the aftermath of the traumatic event, realizing their situation has become even more precarious. As tensions escalate, Marilyn's distress over her daughter's abduction intensifies, leading the group to confine her in a storage room for her own safety. Moved by Marilyn's sorrow, the group decides to take action to find Wendy. They select Josh to wear one of the deceased soldiers' suits in an attempt to infiltrate the enemy's territory and search for Wendy. Josh bravely ventures out of the shelter dressed in the soldier's suit, stepping into an environment eerily covered with plastic sheets. Despite his reluctance, he proceeds until he discovers a laboratory-like area. Using his disguise to his advantage, he cautiously enters the lab and is devastated to find Wendy among other shaved children held captive in a lab cage. However, his cover is soon blown when a soldier checks his ID and realizes he's an imposter. In a desperate escape, Josh manages to kill 2 soldiers and return to the shelter. His return brings devastating news as he indicates to Marilyn with a sorrowful expression that Wendy has been killed. Moments later, the group hears the sound of their door being welded shut from the outside, indicating that the soldiers intend to trap them inside to die. Josh, having been exposed to radiation during his mission, soon begins to exhibit symptoms of radiation sickness. Marilyn, emotionally unstable and isolated after the loss of her daughter, finds solace in Bobby. Their shared trauma leads them into a sexual relationship. The tension reaches a boiling point when Ava witnesses Delvin heading towards Mickey's room with a gun. Intrigued, she follows and sees Mickey exiting a secret storage room within his own quarters. Confronted by Delvin at gunpoint, Mickey is forced to reveal the hidden room. However, in a shocking turn of events, Mickey overpowers Delvin, seizing the gun and fatally shooting him. Panicked, Ava rushes to alert the others. When the group arrives, Mickey has already secured the door and covered up the new room. He claims self-defense, but the group is skeptical. Eventually, they uncover the hidden room and restrain Mickey in a chair. Faced with a combination lock on the door, Josh and Bobby resort to torturing Mickey to extract the code. Despite Eva's pleas to stop, the torture escalates until Mickey can no longer endure the pain, leading to the revelation of the food storage Mickey had been concealing from the group. That night, the group indulges in a feast with the newfound supplies, locking Mickey away in a room. Later, as Sam joins Josh and Bobby for drinks, Eva is coerced into sitting with them for a game of truth or dare. Josh's questioning puts Eva in an uncomfortable spotlight, but she asserts her affection for Sam, much to the amusement of the pair. The situation escalates when Josh and Bobby demand that Sam dismember Devlin's corpse in the septic tank. Sam's refusal prompts them to use force, and Eva intervenes, pleading for them to release him. In a cruel twist, they force Eva to undertake the gruesome task, threatening to harm Sam if she doesn't comply. Traumatized by the ordeal, Eva becomes distracted and vulnerable. Observing her distress, Mickey urges her to take possession of the gun as soon as possible. He also reveals that there is a potential escape route from the shelter through the septic tank. Eva once again leaves Mickey without untying him as Josh, showing signs of radiation exposure, begins to lose his hair. In a symbolic act of solidarity and denial, he shaves off the rest of his hair and does the same to Bobby. Eva's distress deepens when she enters the food storage room, now claimed as Josh and Bobby's territory. There she discovers a motionless figure, leading her to the harrowing conclusion that they have killed her. Overwhelmed with grief, she flees the room in tears. Adrian, witnessing Eva's anguish, is filled with remorse and anger. Unable to reconcile his brother's involvement in such malevolent acts during their time of crisis, Ava, driven to desperation, devises a plan to retrieve the hidden gun from Mickey's room. She creates a diversion by cutting off the electricity, plunging the shelter into darkness. She instructs Sam to use this opportunity to get the gun, informing him of its exact location. However, the plan quickly encounters complications. Sam, in his attempt to access the room, is caught by Bobby, who questions his presence. Thinking quickly, Sam claims he's searching for food due to hunger. Bobby, in a disturbing display of dominance, begins to act aggressively and animalistically towards Sam. Meanwhile, Eva's situation becomes perilous as Josh, out of control, starts to touch her inappropriately. Despite her attempts to fend him off, Josh grows increasingly forceful and aggressive, attempting to sexually assault her. In a desperate move, Ava grabs an object from the table and strikes Josh, attempting to flee. However, her escape is thwarted when the lights suddenly turn back on, inadvertently caused by Adrian, who is unaware of Ava and Sam's plan. In another part of the shelter, Sam, having endured Bobby's humiliating behavior, manages to secure the gun and points it at Bobby, forcing him to back off. As Eva runs out of the room pursued by Josh, she encounters Sam holding Bobby at gunpoint. In the tense standoff, Josh approaches Sam, causing a moment of distraction amidst the chaos. Eva urgently suggests that Sam hand the gun to Adrian, but consumed by jealousy and misunderstanding, Sam fatally shoots Adrian. In a swift response, Eva kills Bobby by cutting his throat from behind and rushes to untie Mickey. Josh pursues Eva, but upon arriving, he finds that she has already untied Mickey. Seizing the moment, Mickey exacts his revenge by shooting Josh. In the climactic moments of the movie, chaos ensues as Josh, wounded and desperate, grabs an oil lamp. Eva and Mickey, watching him warily, are caught off guard when Josh suddenly throws the lamp onto the floor, igniting a fierce blaze that quickly engulfs the room and sets himself on fire. Sam, regaining consciousness amidst the turmoil, leaps into action, assisting Mickey in a frantic attempt to extinguish the rapidly spreading fire. As the room fills with thick, choking smoke from the gasoline, Ava makes a split-second decision to escape. In a state of panic and self-preservation, Eva rushes to the room previously occupied by Mickey, slamming the door shut behind her, effectively isolating herself from Mickey and Sam. With determination, she retreats further into the shelter, heading towards the room housing the septic tank and the biohazard suit. Quickly locking the combination door, she seals Mickey and Sam on the other side as she completes her final heart-wrenching act of setting an explosive charge before breaking into the toilet and the septic tank. Swimming through the filth, she eventually finds a ladder that leads her out of the shelter. Emerging into the outside world, Eva is confronted with the stark reality of a devastated city, a desolate landscape devoid of life. The final scene shows Eva standing amidst the ruins, her expression numb and devoid of emotion. She is lost with nowhere to turn. After enduring the horrific trials of the shelter, the movie concludes with this haunting image, leaving Eva's fate uncertain in the midst of a world irrevocably altered by catastrophe. If you like this recap, make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon so you won't miss any future videos.